stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Put on the brakes. Put on the brakes. Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom. Woodchucks and chuckettes, hoofties, pufties, bung-eyed heifers. Watch out for them bung-eyed heifers. They'll step on your toes. Ask any farmer. To another edition of It's News to Us. That's right. This is us. It's News to Us. We're Newport's oldest TV news, bringing you the news that falls through the cracks since 2009. And we got adult themes. Thank you, Terry. Adult themes, adult language. You were advised. It's rated SC for some cussing. Oh, yeah. Oh, here's, speaking of which, here's our income tax rates. This is what they used to be since, like, the beginning of time. And I got this courtesy of Bernie Sanders' office.
I love Bernie.
We love our Bernie. And you could see it's gone up and down. And as you note, it went down right before every depression. I'm sure it's only a statistical anomaly. There's absolutely no correlation there.
A sadistic anomaly?
Yeah, sadistic.
Yes.
Yeah. And, oh man, where do we begin? My God. How about the environment?
Okay.
Oh man. Well, here we are. This is a essay by a younger fella named Corey Wilga, and it's called "The Myth of the $1 Hamburger." And that's it right there, because you can't beat cheap meat. Yeah. And he says it's time to rethink big livestock operations and adopt practices that are good to people and the environment. But anyways, it says ever since we've relocated livestock from the fields into confined situations, we can't contain the nutrients. And he mentions Wendell Berry, you know, which is a good read, man. Wendell Berry's off the charts. He'll tell you how to do it and how to fix it. But anyways, it's like going back to the future. It's the same thing. I mean, we got to, you know, instead of getting bigger, we got to get smaller and get off the liquid manure, first of all. Throughout the U.S., we've been operating livestock at a scale that's unsustainable. When you buy cheap meat as a $1 hamburger, it doesn't reflect the true cost to the environment or public health that go into its production. And here's some of the studies and efficiencies. Estimated it takes 14 pounds of grain and 1,800 gallons of water to produce a single pound of boneless beef. Boneless beef?
Wow.
How do they walk with no bones?
I don't know. I gotta see that.
Yeah, man. And livestock is also for immense pollution. Yeah, beef production emits significant levels of methane, CO2, nitrous oxide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide. We could go on and on. And due to the intensive production in the concentrated animal feeding operations, they're called CAFOs. And even if it's reapplied to local fields, the soil is limited by its capacity to absorb it from. So after rainfall, all this crap, along with the disease causing bacteria, and the what do they call that stuff that they walk through? That they embalm people with, Terry.
Formaldehyde.
Yeah, formaldehyde. They make the cows walk through formaldehyde to get rid of strawberry hoofwarts, and then they splooge that right onto the fields too, you know, which is funny. But and we're using 22 million pounds of antibiotics in the meat supply every year. And you know, if you or I noticed this the other day, and I said to Swamp Viking, well, what's up with this? If you or I want to buy a pack of friggin' cold medication that's got ephedrine in it, we have to sign a thing at the drugstore saying who we are and maybe even show ID, because God forbid you might make crystal meth.
I ain't got no ID.
Yeah, man, I got a birthmark right here. And yet these farmers can go out and buy 55-gallon drums of formaldehyde and barrels of antibiotics, you know, and somebody just signs a bill of lading, if anything at all, you know. The EPA, that stands for Environmental Plunder Agency, has been funding the programs such as EQIP, which pays them, you know, for the manure containment facilities. So they externalize their pollution to us, the taxpayers. And analysts have estimated $7 billion in taxpayer dollars is spent subsidizing and cleaning up after the large operations, while they save up to $35 billion in feed purchases due to subsidies that reduce prices. And anyways, he said putting a temporary unsustainable label on the entire brand for mismanagement of contractors would help internalize some of the exploited social and ecological costs. But, you know, like that's ever going to happen. Oh, and speaking of which, here we are. Code benefits your walleye anglers. Oh, sure. You know, never mind. Camera 2, Terry, thank you. Oh, we got a picture in a picture, too. How'd that happen? Wow. Yeah, the fish. Man, I'm telling you, in 2002, they had these posters, and I don't have it with me. I'll bring it in next week. They have posters that tell you not to eat the mercury fish if you're pregnant or toddlers, and you know, it's like you can't eat the fish anymore. You got to be out of your mind. Oh, and do you hear about that? The missing guns down in Hardwick, Terry? Yeah, here we are. Handgun stolen from Hardwick store. This is from Monday, April 21st. No, I got plenty of my own. Thank you very much. I've been collecting guns since I was a kid. Hardwick police and federal authorities are investigating a late-night burglary at Right Way Sports in Hardwick. Several handguns were stolen from a store during the burglary. Police report that electricity was cut from behind the building prior to forced entry at the front. Well, hey, dummies. I mean, the only thing that's stopping anybody from cutting your electricity is a little teeny tiny wire tag that they put on your meter. Because all you gotta do to pop the meter is pull that stupid little tag off, pop the ring, you pull out the meter, and bang, the whole place is without juice. Okay. And if you do anything to secure your meter, then, oh my God, the power company will be up your butt so fast you don't know what hit you. Yeah. So they cut the juice, and which would, if they had any cameras, and now it knocks the cameras out unless they got battery backups. Police are asking for assistance from the public of any suspicious activity seen in the area during the late night hours of Saturday or early morning hours of Sunday. Why? Where was the Hardwick police? That's right. We all know that crime only happens from 9 to 5. Never on the weekends. No, we want to be home. We don't want to be out there working. And here we are. Oh my God. IBM. Oh, there's going to be federal help supposedly for IBM workers. And, you know, never mind that here's what these guys discharge into the Winooski every day. Every day they get to dump 265 pounds of nickel, 36 pounds of lead, 2 pounds of cadmium, 184 pounds of chromium into the Winooski every day, thanks Terry, that goes into the same lake that Burlington gets its drinking water. And here we are, we've got the chairman, IBM's Watson, getting the Volksmedal from the Führer in 1937 because they used the IBM punch card system to round up the Jews for the Holocaust. Look it up, man. There's a great book called IBM and the Holocaust. And just for the naysayers, yeah, free trade. You know, we're going to offer, we got trade assistance money for you monkeys. Yeah, right. You won't believe this, Terry, because they know once you lose a decent paying manufacturing job, you're screwed for the rest of your life, right? Pretty much, exactly. Boyne announced that the 304 workers laid off last June would be eligible for the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program, which is intended for employees who lose their jobs because of foreign competition. Now, we, the same taxpayers, are paying subsidies. These companies get a tax break to relocate jobs overseas. And when the Democrats, you know, not that they're any better than the Republicans, but they are a little bit, and in some ways, when they wanted to,
you're right, Steve. Not much different.
Yeah, one sucks, the other blows, and the other, when they tried to eliminate the subsidy for corporations to keep them like in this country, and the Republicans held it up. Yeah, and let's see. The state labor department filed a petition with the U.S. Department of Labor for assistance on behalf of all of the 419 of them that lost their jobs, but the feds initially approved for only 115 for the Williston campus. The federal assistance program includes up to 130 weeks of full-time or part-time job training. These people had a job. They don't need to be trained to do anything else. I mean, what else is there to do? What are you going to train them to do? Say, would you like fries with that?
Yeah, flip burgers or sweep floors.
Cut the crap. Let's see.
That's another new job they come out with.
Yeah, you work at the sauce.
Cut the crap for a living.
Work at the sausage factory.
Exactly.
And it offers a wage subsidy for as long as 2 years for workers who are 50 or older and reemployed in jobs that pay less than $50,000 a year. Okay, so
The majority of us, by the way.
yeah. If you're lucky, you get a part-time. What are you kidding me? In addition, the program offers reimbursement for the cost of relocating to a job in a different location and for job search costs. Well,
In Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
bust my britches. If you're young and healthy, you can go drill for oil out in North Dakota. Bring your own trailer, though. There's no place to sleep.
Well, frack that.
Yeah. Who the frack do they think they are? And get this, man. Oh, here we are. All of these bills are doomed to die. Never mind that the EPA... Oh, that's right, Terry. This is what? April 23rd. Now, didn't little Billy Bullshit say that that we were going to have this airplane factory up and running by April 1st?
No idea.
Yeah, I got the paper that says so from last year. Well, we're going to have that factory up and running over in Coventry, and we're going to be building planes all over the place by April 1st, mind you.
I hope they make some B-52 bombers.
Yeah, we haven't heard a peep out of them. And then now they're cutting back at the mountain saying, oh, we're going to let the marketing team catch up. Well, here's Governor Shitland, you know, they were supposed to come up with an EPA plan to clean up the river by April 1st also, and we haven't. And now get this is H586, the Clean Waterways Act. And it's not exactly what Fish and Wildlife wanted, said David Dean. He's a Democrat from Westminster. He's been on this committee forever. The rivers and lakes have gotten worse and worse and worse. Drive out through Newport Center. You want to see crap. There's crap in the roads. There's mud and crap all over the place. It's just nuts. And they're spreading the crap right up to Mud Creek. This bill is a shallow promise because it passed only one of the two chambers. The bill requires some changes that affect waterways, including certification of small farms to ensure their manure management and other activities are up to snuff. But the legislation lacks the money to make sure it happens. We've got, what, 9,000 chair warmers working for this state. We got a quadrant manager for the agency of no response, like right here. What's that guy do? You call him up and you mention something. Hey, you're a chronic complainer. What do you want? Clean water and clean air? What the hell's wrong with you? Stop calling me. And when the bill left Dean's committee, it raised money from the rooms and meals tax to pay for staff to oversee the cleanup of Vermont's lakes and streams. You want to clean up the lake? Stop dumping crap into the water. It cleans itself. If you stop the crap going into the water, it'll heal. The planet will heal, with or without us, and it's looking more and more like without us.
You can probably do better without us.
Yeah, we're like a virus that's overtaken the planet.
That's what Smith said in the movie The Matrix.
Yeah, he's right.
All they know about humans is
The
the
s-
stench of like a virus.
The smell.
Always like that guy.
And those were computer-generated people.
Always like Smith.
You can't beat the Smiths. Oh, man. Oh, they got a precious metal resale bill. That's probably going to die. And, yeah, we got another embezzler, and here she is, face down. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm going to pay back the state, even if it takes me until I'm 90. But I'm pleading not guilty today, Your Honor. What? Here it is. She earned $50K, they steal $50K. What's the Vermont state sport? That's right, boys and girls, embezzlement. It's the state sport. And get this, I've done a lot of business on eBay since it started, right, Terry? And there's I had one woman who worked at Levi Strauss send me Levi checks. I knew they were company checks, but they were in small amounts, so I figured it's no big deal, right? Well, this woman bought I don't know, a $5,000 or $6,000 Taylor guitar, and the guy only got hinky. The seller in Michigan, he got hinky. Peduzzi's activity came to light when a Michigan man became suspicious after receiving a state check for a guitar had arranged to purchase over eBay. Ron Ratledge, who sells the high dollar, said he agreed to do business with Peduzzi off-site because of her rating and positive feedback and to avoid fees through the online payment system. So not only is she screwing the state, they were screwing eBay or PayPal or whatever they do. They wanted their 5 to 10% cut. And so he calls her up, he shuts the auction down and agrees to do it, gets a state check, and then he gets hinky and notifies the state authorities. So I wonder if eBay's gonna, maybe take away its privileges. Ratledge told me he was lured in and said he would accept a check from her, not knowing it was actually going to be from the state of Vermont. Detective Hango wrote in the affidavit. That's his name, honest to God, Hango. Calling Dr. Hango. And
Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
yeah, Dr. Hango, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. He indicated it was sent to the state of Vermont envelope with her personal address taped over the state return address. He felt things looking suspicious. Okay. Hango wrote in his affidavit that he visited her at her house to speak about a check. Upon arrival, he noticed that the power company had hung a notice to turn off power on one of the door handles. And Peduzzi said she was behind on the bill, so she was buying the guitar with state money to resell it. She would use the profit to pay her mortgage, electric bill, and student loans. She needed about $6,000 to get her head above the water. Okay, 50 grand a year and you can't keep your head above water. Huh. It's not like we pay a living wage to anybody, is it? Isn't 50 grand a living wage, Terry?
It's over double what I make a year.
It's about triple what I make a year. Oh man.
Born in 1993.
I'm telling you. Oh man.
They give more tax breaks to rich people.
Yeah. Yeah, and corporations too. Don't you know they're paying 30% in taxes when they pay taxes,
And I pay 25.
which they don't. Same thing with capital gains. Oh, and don't we know somebody who owns a camp on Seymour Lake, Terry? Oh, all right. Well, which lake is your lake? Salem, I'm sorry.
Ours is the poor people's lake.
Yeah, here is Great Bay Hydro, and the Vermont Agency of No Response has no comment. Yeah, I mean, why should they comment, right? Lack of adequate vegetation along the lake is the primary cause of erosion. The agency is on solid ground, said Greenwood, who's with the VNRC, another grant-sucking chair-warmer agency. The Vermont Natural Resources Council. Oh yeah, what do? Call them up and tell them about the pollution. You know what? They'll get right back to you. Not. And they take plenty of donations, though. Officials at the Agency of No Response did not immediately respond to questions for comment. Nor did Great Bay Hydro, the dam's owners who were out of New Hampshire. Yeah, just call them over in New Hampshire. They'll get right back to you. Oh, and what was just last week, Philo?
I gotta ask you a question.
Yep.
What do you call a rabbit that's constantly falling asleep in the spring?
Nodding.
That's an ether bunny.
Ether bunny.
Jokes get worse. Folks,
Did you know that ether is volatile over 80 degrees Fahrenheit?
I know one thing, the difference between that and alcohol is water.
Yeah.
That's what they gave me when I had my tonsils out when I was 3.
Oh man.
That was nasty.
Oh, I'm telling you, we were cleaning out a pediatrician's office, and we found cans and cans and cans of it, along with the application mask and everything. Yeah, oh yeah, so I go to save it. My father's all, you put that outside, you're not leaving it in my barn. He says, that stuff is unstable over 80 degrees. I'm all like, really? He says, yeah, if you drop it and it's 90 or 100 out, he says, good, boom, off you go, yeah. And here we are, a fat geezer in a dress. That's right, I'm going to get my marching orders from the Popey. Homino domini, 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 all of you altar boys, drop of you pants. Yeah, it's the Ishtar. It's the festival of Ishtar. And if you go on the museum in Berlin, I don't know what they call it these days, but they actually took the gates of Ishtar from Persia, which is now Iran, and moved them to the museum. And there they sit, you know. Ishtar brings cause for hope, dope, peace around the globe, said Popey. Oh, yeah. In USA, the faithful prayed for students lost in the ferry disaster, or as they say up here, ferry. And President Obama, and for a safe running of today's Boston Marathon. Okay. And let's see, singled out need our brothers and sisters in the Ebola epidemic, and peace is a day celebrated by Christians as the anniversary of when Jesus rose from the dead. Hey, I'm Lazarus. I'm back from the dead. What's it like on the other side, Lazarus? We don't know, or I can't tell you. All I saw was a bright light, and then bang, I'm wrapped in bandages, and Jesus is walking me out of the crypt.
I saw something on TV the other night that was so bizarre I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah?
Did you see what Oklahoma has passed for laws?
Oh my God. I can only imagine. Terry, fill me in.
There's three of them, and I always forget one. But one was they were so against the gay marriage law that they decided they were not going to allow anybody to get married in the state. and then
Not even the kissing cousins?
Not even the Oklahoma Sooners. And the other one that they did was, if you get your power from a renewable source like solar, they fine you.
Unbelievable.
In other words, if you get your power from coal, gas, or oil, fine. If you get it from solar or wind, they fine you.
Oh,
The
man.
other thing is, too, they've passed a state law that says you cannot raise the minimum wage.
Geez, so we got a slavery, we got bad air and water, and we got people screwing at their cousins. What?
We also got tons of tornadoes, so why in hell would you want to live there?
And the earthquakes, too. Don't forget them because of the fracking. And here we are. Here's a picture of the Pope right here. And look, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but off to the right in the circle is somebody's got a weed cover on their iPhone. It's like, how'd that make it in there? Didn't they take that out with the Photoshopper? I guess not, you know. But remember, you know, if you're having a little problems, you can get it onto the History Channel. That's right. It's a Romeo, oh Christ, St. Peter's boner pills. Leviticus, Cialis, whatever. You got them, we take them, and you'll be fine after that. And if at the church, if you like Jesus said, go forth and gamble. That's right. It's a bingo for Christ. Bingo! Jesus, give me the winning numbers, would you please? Oh, man. I can't wait till Jesus comes back. He's going to say, you've turned my house into a den of thieves.
I think I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I think he got angry with them people once before, didn't he?
Oh, did you hear about this other one? You know who Joel Osteen is?
Yeah, Big Mouth.
Oh, about 2 or 3 months ago, somebody stole $680,000 from one of his churches.
Yeah, he must have a bigger plate, Philo.
I tell you, it wasn't even a blip on his screen.
Oh, hell no. That's only the part we're hiding from the IRS. And we give them free taxation, no taxation. Hey, and get this, Terry. Why did they close the bathrooms in Burlington? The toilets are full of needles. You can't make this up. And that's right. That's right. Brought to you by Pure Vermont Heroin. That's right. Get up, line up, sign up now. Take your Vermont heroin. Why do you think they call it heroin? It's heroin. You take it, you're addicted. Either you get the liquid heroin or depowdered heroin. Yeah, Needles forced closure of library bathrooms. This is from today's paper, Wednesday the 23rd. Simon said the restrooms, oh wait, Simon says, Ruby Simon, Hoi! Ruby Simon said that the restrooms on the mezzanine level were closed 3 weeks ago after toilets became backed up with needles and other drug materials for the third time.
As Archie Bunker says, what are you going to do with no toilets?
Yeah, how are you going to go to the library with no toilets? The clogging occurred in the sewage disposal lines that served both of the bathrooms, so there was no way to tell whether a man or woman was responsible for the problem. Fortunately, we caught it early and there was no damage to the bathrooms. Simon said that the piggies were notified about the issue, but there was no evidence that IV or any other drugs were being used in the bathrooms. Oh, it's just got to be diabetics then, right, Terry? Oh, man. And so anyways, under the lock system, the library plans to employ a patron who wants to use the restroom will have to provide a library card or other ID in order to get a key to use the junk bathroom. The plan will mimic the key system the library has to manage a handicap access bathroom. It's remained open during the past 3 weeks. Oh man, junkies in the bathrooms. Okay. And here we are. Heroin, a growing threat across the USA. Now, mind you, we know that the CIA brought heroin back from Vietnam in body bags. We know that the CIA, or excuse me, rogue CIA operatives, thanks Philo, brought cocaine back from the Contras with Ollie North. You can look that up on the interweb too. Just Google Gary Webb. What was the name of his book? Oh, crying out loud. Yeah, well, cocaine and Rogaine. It'll get you high and grow hair on your chest. And so anyways, but yet there's absolutely no way that they're bringing the stuff over from Afghanistan. Never mind that, you know, HSBC got fined for washing all that drug money. And speaking of which, yeah, here we are. And this is a big shout out to our good friends at the company. And they did such a good job too here. Look at this. These are the puppets that they installed, and they worked out so good, didn't they, Terry?
I'm speechless.
Yeah, Brazil, Iraq, they put in Saddam Hussein, Indonesia, Cambodia, Chile, El Salvador, Haiti, and it's our tax dollars at work. What are you gonna do?
Where's one of all? They put Bush in office.
Yeah, oh yeah. You know, it's funny. When the people in Michigan voted to get rid of, what do they call it, subsidies for black and brown people or set-asides or whatever, that goes to the Supreme Court and they say, oh, well, we're only doing what the voters wanted. Yet they intervened in a presidential election to stop the count in 2000 because, we don't want to do what the people want. But now, when it comes to taking rights away from black or brown people, we're going to do what the people want. Yeah.
Voter repression.
Yeah, voter regression, man. It's just nuts. And, freedom and unity. I had some other stuff in here, too. HSBC got busted for laundering all the drug money because the West Germans, I mean, think about it. In order to make heroin from the poppy paste, you need chemicals, and then you got to refine it. It's like an episode of Breaking Bad, you know? And then you got to package it and deliver it, the precursor chemicals, and then you get all this money from all these junkies, and you have to wash the money, which is what HSBC did. But, we never get any kingpins. We just never seem to get any kingpins. Yeah. Oh, man. Here we are. Here's a picture of a human peacock, the chairman of the International Mofos. I had to explain these guys to Charlie on the first episode. The IMF, that's what it stands for, International Mofos, otherwise known as the International Monetary Fund. Congress's failure to ratify puts the world economy at risk, said a guest columnist. Senior policymakers repeatedly told that U.S. obstructionism is depriving the IMF of funding needed to ward off serious financial problems in key emerging market countries, which could have serious repercussions. And one of the most influential attendees, that's this guy, the human peacock, the soft-spoken Tharman Shanmugaratnam. Yeah, Shanmugaratnam.
An Irish guy.
Yeah. Hey, it's luckily Irish. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure you know there's a brick in their hands. Yeah. He said that the Deputy Prime Minister has moved away from the West. The U.S. risked suffering disruptive change in the next 10 years unless it accommodated developing countries' requests for more say in running world financial institutions. Yeah. I want some guy from Oingo Boingo land to tell us how to run our country. What could go wrong there?
Good ideas, who knows?
Yeah. I'll give you 5 clams for that $1. Yeah. I'll pay you on Tuesday, too. That's why the other countries are angry. Oh, now that the world economy is on the mend, so they say, the Federal Reserve is gradually tightening credit again, and these countries argue that the richer Western nations need to pay attention to the prospects for instability. And lower growth elsewhere in the world. Well, you can't grow forever. The only thing that grows forever is tumors and cancer. And that's why other countries are angry. The Congress' failure to ratify a 2010 agreement among IMF members to overhaul the fund. The changes would double the IMF's quota, in effect its equity capital to $720 billion, shift 6% points from total quota to the emerging markets, and move 2 of the 24 IMF directorships from European to developing Oingo Boingo countries. Yeah, we're going to give our money to Nigeria. I got a king over there. He's won the lottery. Woo. He says I won the lottery. All I got to do is send him money and, you know, they'll put it right in my bank account. Oh, no. Yeah, and here we are.
The roof's caving in.
Yeah, snowed so hard that the roof caved in. Here we are. Vermont Tech orders courses for brewers and distillers, Philo.
Wow, boy, that's a good one.
Yeah, $1,500 to learn to brew beer and $2,500 to distill it. Okay, yeah. Come and get the liquid heroin. It's down in Middlebury. It's an 11-day distilling course. Students will study everything from the marketing of spirits.
Isn't it somewhat ironical that they want to crack down on drunk driving, yet they keep promoting this crap?
Well, my, Terry, that you know that the beer companies figured that the average schmuck has like $20 in his pocket left over after cashing his check and paying his bills on a Friday night. And you can bet your bippy that they want 19 of that $20. So that's why they keep pushing the beer.
Yeah, you have to have $1 to feed yourself.
Yeah. The dollar burger. That's it. Yeah, Delta, Gamma, Drunka. You know, they're fighting for their tax exemptions. I say screw them. You know what? Oh, but we do wonderful things in the volunteer. 750 members of the 8 frats and 6 sororities. They raise 140 grand for charities, and they volunteer more than 20,000 hours to community causes. Oh, sure. They raised $4,400 for Relay for Life a year ago. Yeah. Well, you know what? Raise the $4,400 and pay your damn taxes. We're sick of carrying your weight. And here we are. $50,000 a year to put people in jail. Anyways, Vermont Senate, here's the challenge of opiate treatment. Oh, yeah, the Geezerslature. Thanks, Terry. You know, the old whorehouse down on the Winooski? Yeah, early Rococo. An estimated 50,000 people in Vermont need treatment for addiction problems every year and don't get it. In efforts to expand the options for people addicted to heroin and other opiates are expected to increase pressure on the treatment system. We know this is a chronic disease, and if you're fortunate, half of your folks will succeed, but half won't and will relapse, and then they have to return for regrouping, said Billy Young from the Maple Leaf Farm, a residential drug and alcohol treatment over in Underhill. If you look,
People I sent there?
did they return them for regrouping? Yeah, well,
I even know one of the counselors over there still.
geez, you know, Terry, it's like that thing I showed you last week. I mean, they screwed the study, they messed with the figures, and it turns out that that they were lying about the heroin numbers. You think they'd come up, they think they'd come out and, say, oh, we screwed up? Oh, no, and here we are. Don't stand for bad beer. Yeah, that's right. Eat, drink, and puke. There's this guy, he pushes the beer every week, week in and week out, but that's okay because it's good for you. Not. Ugh. An old adage for writers, write what you know, so I usually try and write whatever's happening in my professional world. Oh, of drunkery. A rare topic, bad beer. Oh, man, give me a break. And here we are. Oh, yeah, Dr. Hanlon. This guy, the new head of Dartmouth, is cracking down on alcohol abuse, Philo.
I always knew they'd do that.
Eventually?
Well, when my dad passed away, I talked to several doctors who said, right back in 1998, they knew what a problem it was.
Man.
But it's hard to change cultures,
Yeah.
Cultures do not like change.
Yeah, it's like, is that a yeast infection or is that just culture?
And when you have no culture at all.
Yeah. There's no clash, neither.
Thackeray.
Yeah, they got a new president, Phil Hanlon. He's from the class of '77, and he said a grave disconnect between our culture in the classroom and behaviors outside of it. Not to elevate the human spirit, but debase it. He said Dartmouth can't be held back by the few who wrongly hide harmful behaviors behind the illusion of youthful exuberance. Routinized. Now, wait a minute. This guy's a college professor. Routine can be plural, Mr. Professor. Routinized, excessive drinking, sexual misconduct, and blatant disregard of social norms has no place at Dartmouth. Enough is enough. Hanlon observed the intensity level of drinking is higher when I was here as a student. He said the pre-gaming, which I hear about from every college and university president, concerns him. The current situation ought to affect a higher drinking age, which hasn't diminished campus drinking. Rather, elevated the pursuit of alcohol to an art form, encouraged mass consumption, in dorm room shot sessions, fear of ending up boozeless later in the night, binge drinking, in which women are achieving a dubious form of gender equity. Alcohol is the root of many other problems. Binge drinking is a risk factor for sexual assaults. You don't need a study to know that alcohol helps fuel hazing and abusive language. No one expects the kids to suddenly swear abstinence, but they got to slow down. Medical transports for alcohol are down from 36 in the fall of 2010 to 7 last year. So the word's getting out. I guess the kids are sick of puking on their shoes. Oh, and get this. Any of us who've owned dogs, you can train dogs to do a lot of stuff, but, they can't do everything. And now the pigs are trying to be doctors, too.
PhDs?
Yeah. PhD in cruiserology and license plate readers and nightstick etiquette. Oh, man. Yeah, this guy, a Burlington canine team was deployed to track Golden Scent for about a mile, but eventually lost it. Yeah, it's a great dog you got there, officer. But anyways, this is from Monday, April 21st. Board issues new rules for prescribing opiates. Well, you know what? I hope you people don't ever get, chronic pain, anything like that. A person with chronic pain who needs opiates to relieve the pain is no more an addict than a diabetic who needs insulin is. Let's see. Police and prosecutors have complained for years that the opiate problem is partly the result of some doctors being too liberal in prescribing pain meds or agreeing to prescribe the drugs to patients faking pain symptoms in order to use the drugs recreation or sell them to others. Well, that's the thing. I asked Steve Hoffman, he was a buddy of mine who ran a pain clinic down in Central Mass, and I said, well, how do you know who's faking? I mean, some of us have, scars and swelling and stuff like that kind of tell the tale, but what about people with phantom pains and stuff like that? And he said that he said that they figure 20% of the people are gaming them, and it would be wrong and cruel to make 80% of people with chronic pain suffer because 20% are gaming the system. And the ones gaming the system will screw up eventually, believe me. Under the new policy, doctors are encouraged to conduct a social and vocational assessment of patients needing pain medications and screen them for any history of mental health disorders, alcohol, or drug use. Well, I mean, if you don't have a bunch of DUIs or drunken in public, I mean, how are you, what? And the board recognizes that other individuals' use of opioid for other than legitimate pose a significant threat to the public health safety. Finally, the new policy urges doctors to employ pill counts. They do that to me, and that's a great way to catch them, boys and girls, because if they call you at the end of the month and you show up with an empty bottle, you got a lot of splaining to do, Lucy. And let's see. Urine tests, other procedures. This allows the physicians to go to the patient and say, this is the best practice. It's a universal precaution. And physicians are not required to adhere to the new policy except in cases where they fail to follow the parts of the policy as mandated by state and federal law. Professional misconduct. Yeah, but good luck with that. Oh, here we are. Some of the best stuff Philos and Ann Landers or Dear Abby or whatever they're calling it. Sloppy, nasty, legal junkie drunkie. It's okay. Friend's wife has a drinking problem. Dear Annie, as a witness to a friend's marriage, I vowed to help keep their relationship strong. Now, how do you do that, Terry?
Enable them.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you vow to help keep someone else's relationship strong? Well, if you can't handle her, send her over to me. I'll take care of her. His wife has a serious drinking problem, and when she's had too much, she goes berserk, screaming hateful things to her husband in front of others. It's horrific. I can't tell whether it's the alcohol talking or whether she has deep-seated issues. I realize there will be no change until she admits she has a problem.
Maybe alcohol is a deep-seated issue?
Oh, really? Oh, man. Dear Helpless, the signs of verbal abuse include a spouse who calls you name, critical, sarcastic, mocking, humiliate, embarrass you, yells or swears at you, uses threats to intimidate you, who blames you for his or her behavior, and dismisses your feelings. Whoa, 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 feelings. Yeah. Oh, man. And look at this. This domestic assault guy that the dog couldn't catch, Terry. Looks like he had a hell of a bender. He was drinking, he took Clonopins and Dilaudids and yeah, domini. According to court papers. Now get this, 3 times. You know, it's like, this, you know, before the sun rises, you're going to deny me 3 times. 3 times this girl had to deal with this guy before the cops finally got him. 1, first he visited the house of Katie on Johnson Street 3 times early Sunday morning. The first time he kicked in the door when he was asked to leave. After seeing the damage he had done, he left, so police wrote in an affidavit. 2, he returned later while she was in bed, entering through the front door without permission. He grabbed her cell phone and tried to break it and attempted to choke her. And she had marks on her neck. He returned a 3rd time. He realized he wasn't at home. He punched a hole in the wall. They eventually found him at his mommy's house on North Winooski Ave. Oh, Mommy, I've been drinking and I took Clonopins and Dilaudids and the police are looking for me, but I'm fine.
Oh, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah. He told police in a short statement that he had been under the influence of drugs and alcohol and been angry that she was seeing another man. I wonder why. Oh, man. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. And here we are, a bright future for helmet heads. Yes, that's right. When we were kids, autism was a birth defect, thanks Philo, was found in 1 out of like 1,000. Then it was like 1 in 100. And now it's like, Dear Annie, my 13-year-old son has autism, anxiety issues, severe expressive and receptive language delays, profound sensory issues. Bright lights, loud sounds, and large crowds can overwhelm him. Many of these things we take for granted, such as getting in an elevator or going to the store, took years for him to accomplish. Well, I'm sure he'll be a great contributor to society. And you know what, lady? If you're not going to be there to hold his hand for the rest of his life, this kid's screwed. So what the hell? And how many of these screwed people are we going to have around going, oh, I can't take it, I can't take it.
Sounds like the Republican Party out of Washington.
Yeah, it sounds like some kind of party. Man, oh man. And speaking of which, here's one for the environment too. These are the creatures in New England have gone extinct just in my lifetime, my short 50 years here on the planet. That's right, all gone and not to be ever, ever coming back. But you know, it's not the mercury, it's not the smokestacks. Oh, and here's the guy, look at this, they got this, this guy's got more tattoos than a Maori warrior. And they hired him after the pig shot Jesus' brother. Remember when they shot Wayne Brunette there, that shovel boy guy, Terry? He said he was Jesus' brother and that he could defy gravity with a 9-volt battery. And the cops, he was chopping down an apple tree in his mother's front yard. The cops show up, he goes after him with a shovel, and they killed him dead. So now we'll never know how to defy gravity with a 9-volt battery. That information is just lost forever. Oh, and speaking of which, the geniuses that run the Troy school system are asking for another, I don't know, $250,000. These people that are supposed to teach our kids, evidently they couldn't do the math and they're 250 grand short and they need the money bad. So we're going to have yet another vote on the damn school system May 1st or something. And guess what? They're going to serve a dinner beforehand so that everybody can come in and get fat and happy and then vote yes because we gave you a free dinner. And oh man, and they've got the same problem in Burlington. Are they 1.7 million? Is it 2.5 million? We don't know. We just know we need more money and you pukes are going to have to pay higher taxes. That's all we know. The school district discovered over the weekend, based on the auditor's report, which said there were numerous deficiencies, that nobody's watching the hen house, that it had been budgeting based on each previous year rather than actual expenses. Yeah, that's a great way to learn how to budget. Well, we auditors wouldn't know about that. And there goes Barney Oldfield. You know, they told Barney Oldfield that if he went over 90 miles an hour, the air would get sucked right out of his lungs and he would go unconscious. But you know, Barney didn't believe him. He figured he could go 90 and nothing would happen. And you can until you hit something. Yeah, they're, let's see, the projected deficit to 2.5 million instead of 1.7 million. So, in fact, the budget we put out for 14 wasn't reflective of our actual spending. We're sorry. You got any more money? And now they got the IRS looking into the school district payroll tax payments. Oh, yeah. Numbers come up all through the process, and to focus on any of the numbers is misleading. When a penalty is determined, the city could also negotiate with the IRS. The main concern is the school district used the same ID number as the city and paid their payroll taxes late. One letter from the IRS about the tax period that ended in June last year were 1 to 41 days late, and some where the IRS said the city never paid. Some payroll tax payments were skipped, totaling well under $5 grand. So I said, in some cases, the IRS and the city may disagree about the number or date of the taxes, but you know, we're the ones who teach your kids, and we got to go back to school because, you know, we can't balance the books. Oh, man. It's the annual body melt, people. That's right. The snow's melting, and out come all the bodies out of the snowbank. And thanks, Philo. And the VA is installing a nut gate down at White River Junction and added an iron gate at the entrance to improve security. Oh, that won't tie up traffic, I'll bet. Yeah, police find body of missing New Hampshire man in Keechee. 42-year-old Michael Hayward of Sunapee was recovered Wednesday. He had been missing since February. They found his car at the Quechee Gorge. The vehicle was unoccupied, no sounds of foul play. Well, I guess I'm going to go out to Quechee Gorge and die. I'll see you in the springtime when they find my body. And hopefully the coyotes won't get to it first.
It's a big gorge, too.
Man, oh man. Geez, Terry, a couple years ago we found a dead moose, and it took the coyotes about 2 weeks to strip this thing clean, dude. I can't imagine what they did to this guy at Quechee Gorge. Yeah, man who held police at bay gets probation. A man who held police at bay from the roof of his Newport home for 4 hours is going to spend a year on probation. Last September, he went on the roof of his garage with a rifle and called the pigs and told them he was being surrounded. State, local, and federal law enforcement evacuated the neighbors. He didn't say he was going to harm anybody. He never fired a shot. He just went up on his roof with a rifle. Maybe he didn't have binoculars. Maybe he was using his scope. We don't even know if the gun was loaded. What are you kidding me? Oh yeah, come on, pile on, pig pile, pig pile. Unbelievable. Oh geez, and Judge Van Bethyhuizen said he believed he was suffering from a mental health crisis. He told Niles that the incident drew law enforcement for a 50-mile radius. Wow. You got nothing better to do. Let's go take a shot at Derek on the roof. Your conduct that day had a huge ripple effect that you probably didn't intend. Niles said he understood he was stigmatized in the community. I'm looking forward to going on with my life. Well, geez. What was the original charge? Anyways, reckless endangerment. Misdemeanor, reckless endangerment. You go on your roof with a rifle, that's reckless endangerment? My God, next time I'm up on my roof with a snow shovel, I hope somebody doesn't think it's a rifle. I'll be surrounded. There'll be Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. in a helicopter with a megaphone saying, "You can run, but you can't hide." And one out of every 9 bridges is junk in this country, and the Republicans won't give up any dough to fix them.
5 minutes, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. They're going to run out of money, boys and girls, and they don't care. They're withholding the money. So Shummy sent a letter down to Washington to dry up. The forecast of funds will dry up by August 29th if they're not depleted sooner. And here we go. Man sold crack near school. A Bronx, New York man was arrested selling crack cocaine to a confidential informant. Quan Hughes, 29, no known ties to the area. Oh, no. They located the daycare center, went to his house and found 400 bags of heroin, too. Okay, then. Hey, Duncan got in the paper, too. The Vermont schools are not a top priority. So Duncan mentioned something about, if our scores are similar to Texas, if you take out the minorities or whatever. He said his comments about minority education test scores during debate would ban the privatization of schools are lacking more than some admit. According to the Press Bureau, Kilmartin said, "We're an all-white population. Texas scores for all-white population in Texas, minus not the Hispanics and other minority groups, actually do better than Vermont. When you parse the statistics, we're not doing as well as we claim because we compare ourselves continually to other states which have huge minority populations." So this woman goes nuts. And what do, Philo? They're going to kiss and drink up. That's right. It leads to a new definition of fossil fuel. Because that's what fuels the fossils, alcohol. Yeah, Jean O'Sullivan apologized on the floor to Duncan Kilmartin. She said she took issue with calling him racist for his comments about security, decaying decorum. All's well now, Kilmartin said. Sullivan and Kilmartin planned to have dinner and discovered they share a licking for single malt scotch. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, and here we are. Everything's better in Stowe, right, Terry?
Yeah, except the people.
Yeah. This guy, bashed his teacher wife's brains in with something. They won't say what. And then he killed his own ass. Catherine Washburn, ceramic art 4 teacher, severe injuries to the head, but they haven't determined yet. Not the result of a gunshot wound. He wouldn't say what the injuries were. And then the husband OD'd himself on drugs and carbon monoxide. That's tough to do these days, boys and girls, man. And here we are. The Young Writers Project. I love this stuff because, you know, Vermont, short, choppy sentences. It's Vermont. We don't know what a comma is.
2 minutes to go, Steve.
Oh, it's mind-boggling. Well, maybe we ought to just give it up. 371 homeless kids. We got plenty for war. That's just in Vermont. And donor cycle killed a 24-year-old kid. Oh, and here's Dangling Dan. He had an experimental aircraft. He was a stunt pilot. They found Dangling Dan hanging from a tree, and the fire department had to cut him down. And this is a picture of his plane. It's an X aircraft, all right. X is in X, no more. Thanks, Terry. Oh my God, look at all the news we've left behind. Oh, and look at, here's the thing from the Vermont College in the old days. They had to learn Herodotus, Livy, Odysseus, Tacitus, Greek introduction, Roman history, algebra, geometry, trig. It's unbelievable. But once again, you've wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. And hopefully, inshallah, next week we'll see you again. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. And until then, drink plenty of pus in Vermont. Heroin. It's heroin. It's good for you. No! Wrong! See you next week. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar!
We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all that long. Come on and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all that long. The evening sun is sinking low. The clock on the wall says it's time to go. But I got my plans and I got plans for you. I'll tell you exactly what we're all gonna do. The groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. Come on and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay until we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long.